Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the TheAppNook. I am New York Giants fan, or more commonly known as New York Giants fan forever. Today we will be covering an app by EA Sports known as NBA Jam. Now, from my earliest childhood, I really loved the originals. It was a fun game. Kind of wild, kind of zany, but it was definitely one of the most interesting basketball games you could possibly find. NBA Jam is a pretty faithful port, and you can find it on the app in the App Store for the price of $4.99. It is a little bit hefty. It is going to take 262 megabytes of space, so plan accordingly with that. The game itself is a little bit of a battery drain, but it's nothing that's going to make you cry at all. So let's load this little thing up. Depending on your model of iPod, it could take a little bit, or iPhone, it could take a little bit while to get things going. Now, first thing you want to notice about this game is that it is definitely loud. It is meant to be a raucous basketball fest. It's very easy to get into, very fun. There are multiple modes for you to actually play around with. Let me just put this volume down a little bit for now. We'll hear that more of that later. There are multiple modes for you to play around in with this. You have a just play now feature, which is great for just fooling around with the game and getting to know it, getting to learn it. There's also a classic campaign that lets you take a team and basically play every other team in the league, as well as a few created ones. You do have multiplayer options, which is fun depending on whether or not your friend is good or not. And you do also have a challenge feature, which basically allows you to complete various challenges in the game, such as making a certain amount of shots in a row, or doing different things like that in order to accomplish those. Now, this game is not Game Center compatible to the best of my knowledge, so those are not going to show up in your Game Center collection. But they will be in this, and it does unlock some really cool stuff in the actual game itself. So for the purposes of this review, let's just go into the Play Now mode. Let's put the volume back up a little bit. Play now. See that? Yes. Very iconic. It just gets you going with that. And you can pick your teams. For the purposes of this, I'm just going to say yes because I don't want to be doing run around. Then it will load up. Takes a little while. And then as you can see with this game, it is basically, you're going to have a virtual joystick. So you can go around that. Then you'll have your shoot button. You can block. And they can go up, and your own can. Now you're going to notice the dunks are really raucous. They are meant to prove a point. As you can see, one of my biggest complaints with this game is that after playing it for a while, some of the, some of the commentary that comes from the game can get a little bit stale because it really doesn't change all that much. It's very almost, you can hear the volume. Put that down that you've heard it. It's almost a little bit it's basically the same as you're going throughout the whole thing. You will hear a little bit of different variations depending on what you do. If you go for a big dunk, you'll get the boom shakalaka. And there are a few funny ones like you bring the peanut butter, I'll bring the jam, stuff like that. And it just adds to a really, really fun atmosphere. The graphics are great on this game, as you can see. It's definitely meant to show off the iPod touchers or the iPhone's graphic capabilities. It's very fun, very easy to get into, very easy to learn. There are multiple difficulty levels. This way you can get used to playing it. Let's just quit this. It's definitely going to take you a long time to beat it. Now, this game is a little bit repetitive, so if you have a little bit of a hard time with that, this game may not be for you. Even though it is fun, it does get stale pretty quickly. So for $5, that could be a little bit of an issue. For people though, such as myself and for others who like to complete challenges or just play around with it, there are a load of challenges for you to unlock. And a lot of them are fun. They unlock characters for you to play as. You got a lot of legends you can play as. And because of that, it does add to replayability and just the overall fun of the game. But if you do not like stale gameplay, it depends on if it's stale or not, whether or not you get bored with doing the same thing over and over again. But for those of us who do not have a problem with that, this game is definitely fun. It definitely keeps the attention. It's great to play on a bus or a road trip or something like that, and because it does have the many multiplayer options and everything else. But for $5, I would personally, I love the game, but I would not pay $5 for it. If you can get it on sale for $1, $2, I think that's maybe $3 would be the sweet spot for this, but $5 is a little bit much. It is a faithful port, but I kind of have a stigma about paying that much for an app, no matter what the app is. As I said, this is a fun game. I highly recommend it if you can get it a little bit cheaper, but for $5, it is repetitive and it does have its little bit of rough edges, but I do like it. So if you have liked this video, I highly would appreciate it if you would rate, comment, and subscribe.